All right, so this is the worksheet that says equations, multiple angle. And I'm looking at this number 5. Number 5 says, what? Well, you need your reference sheet out, right, guys? Okay, hang on, I'm having cursor issues as usual. Okay, so this number 5, it says the sine of 2x is negative square root of 3 over 2. Remember, we're going to take this and ignore the 2 for a minute and just solve for where the sine is negative square root of 3 over 2, and that's where it comes in. It's called a U substitution problem, okay? So that happens where? 5 pi over 3 and 4 pi over 3, and that's plus or minus 2 pi n, okay? And what are we going to do to get rid of the 2 now? Divide by 2 or take half of everything. And remember, that means we have to go all the way back here and take half of this as well. So x would become, what's half of 5 pi over 3? Multiply the top and the bottom, or use your calculator and do a math, enter, enter. Should be 5, 6, right? 5 pi over 6. And that'll, instead of being plus or minus 2 pi n, it would be pi n, okay? Half of 4 pi over 3 would be 4 6, but what's 4 6 reduced to? Plus or minus pi n. Now, I'm thinking that's probably they just wanted these two solutions. So 2/3 and 5 6. Is there a choice? Let me page down here. Yeah. That's the only one that's even close, right? So apparently you're supposed to connect this dot over to this choice. And then what does it say to do? Write those letters on the blank for number 5. Like that. Okay. What? Yeah. All right. Somebody pick one more. Sure. Tangent ones are tricky, but we got this. Number 7. It says x over 3 in there. Okay. So again, we're just going to find where the tangent is square root of 3. And then we're going to worry about getting rid of that x over 3. So the tangent is square root of 3 when we're looking for this. Does that seem right, guys? So when you put y over x, you'd get square root of 3. Now, tangent has a period of what? Pi. So there's 2 places that this could happen, because it could be with positive, positive, or it could be with a negative, negative. But they're straight across from each other, so we really can just give the first one. Where was it in quadrant 1? And then it would repeat, whoa, I don't know what that is, pi later. I'm drawing weird letters now. Okay, the other one would be straight across at pi n. What can we do to get rid of this 3? How do you get rid of a divided 3? So you would you don't, because it's straight across, okay? You could, and it wouldn't matter. We may need that answer in a minute here. So when we multiply through by 3, this becomes x. This becomes plain old pi. And back here we have plus or minus 3 pi n. So I have pi as a solution, and if you added 3 pi to that, you'd get 4 pi, but 0 is not a solution. Is there anything that's looking like that?
Yeah.
That one says 0 and 4 pi. But 4 pi would be the same. Oh, I'm so confused. It should be pi. This was right, guys? This was really pi over 3. Everybody agrees? Yeah, that's right. That's pi over 3. Times 3 is pi. So if I put a pi in there, get a pi over 3, the solution works. So I should have pi. All right. But if I add 3 pi, I get 4 pi. And 4 pi is really the same as 0, right? Does 0 work? If I put in the 0, what is the tangent at 0? It's not square root of 3, right? All right, so I'm kind of confused. Maybe there was a error on the worksheet and I forgot to write it down. I think this should be pi and 4 pi. You're right. Yep. Way to go. Pick one that's wrong. We have the solutions right because that is a 3, right? I can't see it, but it is a 3. Okay. Yep. No clue. All right, we're going to go to the other side because there's not a tangent one on the quiz anyway. Let's go to the other side. What's different on this side? Oh, there is. There's some ugly stuff. But the answers are all solutions, right? Do you see what I'm saying? These answers all have plus or minus on the back, and that's how it is on the quiz. So, well, they're looking kind of ugly. I think we could really do this. Let's try number 6. What do you do anytime you see a cosecant in your equation solving? You just have to flip it over. What is the reciprocal of this? Nope, that's not my question. What's the reciprocal function of cosecant? Sine. So this becomes sine of 3 beta equals, and this side flips over and becomes negative 1 over square root of 2. All right, so go back up to number 3 for a second before we go any further and just tell me what this would become. It would be cosine of, is it theta over 2? Yeah. Equals, and this would flip over and become negative 1/2. Is everybody okay? You're just flipping the whole function over so it reverts back to sine or cosine or tangent. All right, now down here on number 6, the sine is supposed to be this. Well, if we rationalize that, we're looking for a sine value that's negative square root of 2 over 2. So where is the sine? Negative square root of 2 over 2. And those would be plus or minus 2 pi n. But are we done? Remember, this was really what in here? 3 beta. So what do we have to do to all this? Yes, multiply by 1/3. Good call. So we're going to do a third over here and just get beta. A third of this would become what, guys? Good job. Because it was right in here, it was a 3. Yes, we're dividing by 3 or multiplying by 1/3. So it'd be plus or minus a third of 2 pi n would be 2/3. What about it down here? A third of 7/4 would be 7/12 plus or minus 2/3 pi n. All right. What are we supposed to do? To find out how, solutions may be used more than once through one group of letters and a number. Match the solution or solutions with the problem by drawing a straight line. See, that's why I'm thinking Okay, so where does, I'm going to use my line tool or this isn't going to work. Go from here to this guy. Oh, yeah, that's not the line tool, Hofbauer. Darn it. It's supposed to go from here. This is 1, isn't it? 7 pi over 12 plus or minus 2 pi over 3. And the other one up here, 5 pi over 12. So apparently we have 14 is ILL. And what was this one? 5 is SNO. Okay. Got it? All right. Some of on this side require you to do a little bit of junk first. Let's just do one more together. Let's do this number 5. What is this out front? Can anybody tell me what that is? Okay, we need to get rid of that first. So we multiply by 5 over negative 2 on both sides. What will happen to the left is we'll just be left with sine of 3x. And what will happen over here? Yeah, but the 5s will divide away, right? So we get square root of 2 over negative 2. Oh, that seems pretty easy. I kind of feel like we just answered that question. Isn't that exactly what we did over here, including divide through by the 3's? Okay, so apparently we found the one where answer may be used more than once. So this answer is still these two, which gives us some new answers. Yeah, it makes a cute little design there. So it's the same question. Sine 3 is square root of 2 over negative square root of 2. That's exactly what we just did. Whoa! It's exactly what we just did over here. Okay. Oh my gosh. Do you get it now or not? Yeah. Okay. Because I'm struggling big time. All right. So we really didn't do another one. Do we need to do one more, guys? Are you sure? Yeah. All right. It says the cotangent. Okay, we need to flip it over. Well, let's solve for cotangent first. It says cotangent of theta over 4 plus 1 equals 1. So what do you want to do first? Subtract 1. So then we have cotangent of theta over 4 equals 0. This is a hot mess. If I flip that over, I get the tangent of theta over 4. What's the reciprocal of 0? 1 over 0 is undefined. Yeah, I'm not too sure how this is going to go. Do you remember where the tangent would be undefined? When you put y over x, it would be pi over 2 and 3 pi over 2, or pi over 2 plus or minus pi n. But I still have to get rid of what? Yeah. This is not on the quiz, I promise. Okay. So to get rid of a divide 4, we're going to multiply by 4. So we'll have theta equals 4 pi divided by 2 would be 2 pi plus or minus 4 pi n. Does there happen to be one like that? Oh, there is. Makes me happy. Look right here. 2 pi plus or minus 4 pi n, right? And I drew a really fat line so you can't see through it, but you have it on your paper, hopefully. Okay. Am I going to upset you greatly if I tell you that I'm not going to make the pink sheet part of the homework check? Okay, you can cross it off the homework check. I would do a couple more on each side for practice if I were you, but I don't think it's worth spending the time doing the whole worksheet, okay? We just did some together. Isn't it on there at the bottom? Does it say puzzle sheet or something? Does it say pink even? Okay. All right. What else does it say though? It says worksheet 5, doesn't it? Anybody have homework questions they want me to do? Otherwise, I'm going to do some off worksheet 5. Nobody? Homework questions? Yeah, we can do more homework questions Monday if you need me to. All right. So worksheet 5. And pull out 5, 7, and 9 while you're in there if you don't already have them out. Both? Let's start on the bottom of 5A. Oh, there, worksheet 5 review. All right. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. I'm going to tell you that you can skip the whole front side except for these 3 questions. Okay? So 14, 15, and 16 are the only 3 that I care about on the front side. Because I think this is on the homework checklist, isn't it? Or not? Am I crazy? Yes? Okay. So on your homework checklist, just make it say worksheet 5B instead of, because we'll do these 3 and then you can need to do side B. And honestly, I might cross a few off side B. Okay, so help me answer this. Where's the cosine 1/2 quickly? Looking at your unit circle. Okay. And am I done? Why not? Because it says all negative infinity to infinity, so I have to put on plus or minus what? There is a shorter way to write that, but you'd rather I didn't confuse you, right? Okay. Number 15 is on the quiz, one like this. What do you do when you see cosecant? And it becomes sine of x, and you flip this side and it's negative 1/2. Now, where is that true? Okay, are we done? This probably should have said x equals, but it's okay. We have to put plus or minus 2 pi n because of the directions again. All right, one more. What do we have to do first on 16? Divide by the 3. Does this mean we're going to have to use the whole divide by 3 at the end?
No.
When is that? What we were just doing, yes. That's called U substitution, okay, when it's inside here. So we're going to have, this one is just straight up. Okay, can anybody help me find the ordered pair? Hate tangents. What will make that come out? This, yeah, 1 over square root of 3. Yes. One of them has to be negative, whichever one. Is everybody good with that? Because you'd get 1 over square root of 3 for the tangent, and then you'd have to do that gobbledygook, and you'd get negative square root of 3 over 3. Okay. 5 pi over 6 and 11 pi over 6. Now, there is definitely a shorter way to write that one because they're straight across from each other. You could have just said, here's the first one, and it's going to repeat every pi n, okay? Yeah, if you wrote 2 pi, it wouldn't be wrong if you've put both of them down. If you've put down both of them. Wow. Yep, recorded that great English. If you put this down, I would not count it wrong because you have really covered both solutions. So if you put with just the pi, that would be fine too. You're really repeating yourself, but any of that I would take. Okay. Go to the other side, yes? Okay, this is not the right worksheet for 5B. Okay, what does it say at the top of that worksheet? Does it have a name? Okay, thank you. I don't think any of these are right. This is what I do want to do these. So I'll leave that open, but let's not waste time. Sorry, I wasn't better organized. I had a meeting and only got back right when class was starting. Somebody read me one off 5B. What number is that? 5B, right? Okay. Ideas? You see this on the quiz. What are you going to do? Okay. So we're getting all the functions in one place together. Does everybody think they would have tried that first? Okay, so then we have 2 sine t, right? 4 minus 2 is 2. Minus square root of 3 equals 0. Then what? Okay, so I have 2 sine t equals square root of 3. Okay. So you basically are treating it like an algebra equation to begin with, okay? You want to get all the x's on one side and you want to isolate the x. Make sense? All right, now, where is the sine square root of 3 over 2? And? Okay. What are the directions for number 17? Because the directions change around on this worksheet different places, don't they? This number 17 says 0 to 2 pi? Okay, right. So the directions say this. So do we have to put plus or minus 2 pi n on the back? Nope. These are our two answers. Apparently they don't like each other because they're really far apart, but that's it. Okay. Let's pick one from section B. Can someone pick one from section B? We're still on 5B. What number do you want me to do? Okay. What do the directions say this time? Use a calculator to find all solutions in radians. Okay. Isolate the function and you'll have what? Okay. So once you get out your calculator, what are we going to type in? There's two ways you could do this. The way that I think would make the most sense to most of you is by graphing. So I'm going to graph sine x, and I want it to equal what? 3/4. 3 divided by 4. Okay, I'm going to be in what mode because I'm graphing? Radians. All of these are in radians. It says 0 to 2 pi, that's radians. So I'm going to do a zoom trig. Okay, now I need your brain here to realize that from here, one cycle of sine would end at what? Okay. How often does this repeat? It's a sine, so it repeats every 2 pi. So if I can find these two answers, then I can say they repeat every 2 pi, right? So intersection, enter, enter, and scroll to this one. Anybody get 0.848? Is that right? Does it say 3 places in the directions? Yes? Okay. And the other solution between 0 and 2 pi, enter, enter, scroll to the right to find this one. 2.294, anybody? Okay. We found the 2 between 0 and 2 pi. So if that was the directions, we'd be done. But this one says all, right? So what are we going to put on the back? That's it. Plus or minus 2 pi n. There is a calculator question on the quiz. I think it does not say all solutions, so you just have to find me the decimals in the window, but did you need to try one more of those or not? Okay. What about 25 through 32? Which ones? It says give exact solutions, so it's definitely not a calculator decimal question, okay?
Oh, okay.
Exact solutions. Number 26 is a great question because I know what way too many of you are going to do first. Anybody want to guess what you're going to do first, or tell me what you would try first? It is factored. Some of you are going to FOIL it back together, right? It's like half done for you. Yeah, it's already factored, so all you have to do is set it equal to 0. I don't think I gave you one like this on the quiz, mostly because people would FOIL it back together. And so, but this one is already factored. So you would just do 2 cosine of x plus square root of 3 equals 0, and 2 cosine of x plus 1 equals 0. Okay, isolate x. What would this say? Cosine of x equals negative square root of 3 over 2. And this one would say cosine of x equals negative 1/2. And the directions just say 0 to 2 pi. So Mackenzie, why don't you tell me the answers to this one? Negative square root of 3 over 2 in the cosine spot. And Tristan, can you tell me where cosine is negative 1/2? Is that basketball game related screaming that has got your throat? So it's going to be even worse tonight? Who do you play tonight? Okay. So that's who you actually play? So this is their home? Oh, awesome. Yeah. It's at their, okay. Yes. All right, guys. That's it, yes? Because it said 0 to 2 pi, so we're done. All right. I'm gonna pick number 29. And then we're gonna go to another page here. 29 says 2 cosine squared of x plus 11 cosine of x equals negative 5. Somebody would take out a cosine of x on this left side. Why can you not do that? You can only factor things out if it equals 0. If it does not equal 0, taking out a factor doesn't help you. So I'm going to make this equal 0. Now, anybody know what we need to do? We do. No, we can't take out a cosine anymore because of this 5. We need to factor. What would this say if I just called this n? 2n squared plus 11n plus 5. Can we figure out how that would factor? 2n and n. And I'm thinking the 2 would have to multiply by a 5 to make 10 and 1, and they're both plus. Okay, so then we go back over here and put in cosine. Okay, then we play take your turn being equal to 0. So this one becomes the cosine is negative 1/2, and this one becomes the cosine is negative 5. Yep, negative 5 can't happen. Good job. So the cosine is negative 1/2 at, I think we just did this, 2 pi over 3 and 4 pi over 3, and we're done because of the directions. Feel better about that section now? Okay, I'm going to say do the evens. Okay, can you finish the evens on that for your homework check? And that's all I'm going to require, all right? Deal? Don't tell Abruzzo's class because I don't know what she required, but I'm not going to make you do that whole worksheet. All right, I want to talk about 9 and maybe 7. Did anybody have trouble on 7b last night, or did anybody do 7b? Let's go to the top of 9 since I didn't hear any minute answers here. Is this what you have on the top of 9? This is really review for the quiz. It's not homework. You're welcome. Okay. Is it? Is it on your homework check? 9 isn't, is it? Okay. What did you do if you see this on the quiz? Switch it all to sine and cosine? Or? There is no switching to sines and cosines. Okay. Factor out a cosine. Christian is right. Okay. There's one just like this on the quiz. I promise that you can factor something out. Take out a cosine. What will this say if I factor out a cosine? 2 sine x minus the square root of 3 equals 0. Now, the fact that we have a sine and a cosine is okay, right? Because they're separated now. So that either the cosine of x equals 0 or this mess equals 0, which would make the sine of x equal to square root of 3 over 2. Okay, directions say all solutions. Okay, cosine is 0 means I'm looking for a 0 up front. Where does that happen? Pi over 2 and 3 pi over 2. Shorter way to write that, but for now, I would totally take this answer. All means you got to put the plus or minus 2 pi ends. All right, what about this guy? Sine. So I'm looking for back here a positive square root of 3 over 2. Oh, yeah, you're right. I was going to get the wrong quadrant. And those, because it says all in the directions, need plus or minus 2 pi n. Okay. You may go back. Do you get the last steps, guys, where you look at the unit circle sheet and then you put the plus or minus on the back? So could we just like start a couple and not do that last step to save a little time? Would that be okay? Like this one, it's written funny, and I didn't write it like this on the quiz, but this is just sine squared, okay? Just written funny. Minus 2 sine of x, then what would you have to do? Subtract the 3 so that it equals 0, and then you would what? Yes, it's like an n squared minus 2n minus 3. How does that factor? N minus 3 and plus 1. Oops. Okay, pretend I can write. Do you need me to finish that one or not? Okay. I want to look at a couple more because there's a tricky one here. Keaton's going to get it wrong. 2 cosine squared equals 1 minus sine x. If I move this all so that it equals 0, Can I factor that? No. Okay. In the directions for this question, I would say you will need a trig trade. Okay? That would be my hint. What can I trade? Two cosine squared minus 1 is actually a cosine of 2x, I think, a double angle, but I don't think that's going to help us because I think we need to replace just cosine with something. What is cosine squared? Okay, so I want all the same function is the issue. I can't have different functions. So cosine squared is a 1 minus sine squared. Then on the back, there was still this minus 1 and this plus sine x. Okay, distribute the 2. Okay. Now I'm going to write it in a little better order. I have a negative 2 sine squared. And I have what? A plus sine x. And this will be a plus 1 when I combine them. Okay, what's Hofbauer want to do first? Do you like this negative 2 out front? Yeah, I'm going to change all my signs because I can't deal with a negative out front. And then it would factor. Do you need me to factor?
No.
Does anybody want me to factor? We're okay? Okay, so you would factor and solve. Okay. I'm going to do this one because I think this is on, actually both 4 and 5 are on. You know what? Remind me, somebody put a big mark. We need to do 4 and 5 because they're on the quiz next week. But how about if we do them Monday? Because that'll be that much closer to the quiz. Yes, worksheet 9, 4, and 5. Okay, make sure we do those on Monday. Let's go back though and talk about 7b, just to revisit some from yesterday. 7b, we got this far yesterday. Did anybody finish? All right, we can keep going, or at least a little bit. What is the formula for cosine alpha over 2? Can you find that on your sheet? It's plus or minus the square root of 1 plus cosine over 2. Is that right? Okay. Now, the plus or minus we took care of yesterday, and I'm going to go back over why we did that. The original angle was in what quadrant for this question? Quadrant 3. Quadrant 3 is somewhere between 80 and 270, yes? Okay, now we are trying to find theta divided by 2. If it's close to 180 and you cut it in half, it's close to 90. If it's close to 270 and you cut it in half, it's close to 135. So it is somewhere between 90 and 135. What quadrant is that? It's a weird set of numbers, but it is somewhere in quadrant 2. And in quadrant 2, the cosine is negative. That's why we got this negative out front here. So we're going to have a negative, and we're going to put in the numbers. What is the cosine? Negative 4/5, right? So we're going to have 1 plus negative 4/5, all divided by 2. And then we're going to have to put a negative in a square root. Okay, use your calculator. I think you get 1/10 in here. Somebody try it. 1 plus negative 4 divided by 5, enter. And then divide by 2, enter. Math, enter, enter. Negative square root of 1/10. Okay. What's the square root of 1? So I have negative 1 over square root of 10 is just square root of 10. I don't need the negative twice, right guys? Just once. So when I rationalize that, it will become square root of 10 over 10. Okay. Anybody remember the shortcut for tangent? It's sine over cosine. So we have 3 square roots of 10 over 10 being divided by a negative square root of 10 over 10. Anybody know what that's going to become? Divide away, divide away, divide away, divide away. Don't lose your negative. It's just what? All right. Let's practice this. Look at your unit circle sheet. This is wrong. It's supposed to be an X right here. Did I fix it on your sheet? Okay. Can you find a rule for me that says sine cosine plus cosine sine? Sine cosine plus cosine sine. Okay, but what are A and B on this example? Pi over 2 plus X. Okay, that's what you're doing on these. Everybody feel okay? What is D? Where's one that says 2 times sine times cosine? Sine of 2 theta, but what is theta? 3x, right? So you'd have the sine of 2 3x's, or the sine of 6x. Yes, no, maybe? Okay. What's E? Anybody find that one? Plus or minus the square root of 1 plus cosine over 2? Cosine over 2. But what is the theta here? 4 alpha. Yep. So what will that simplify to? 4 alphas divided by 2 would be 2 alpha. All right, your homework check should be done for Monday. So finish whatever you don't have done. You don't have to finish the pink sheet. The only thing I added today at the bottom of the homework was 5, and I said 5B evens only, right? Right. Okay. Because on Monday then, oh, I got to give you the quiz review sheet. Kidding.
If I come in,
Yes, it's not expiring, but it certainly is. It's
Yeah.
really short.
Yeah, that's why.
Yep, perfect. I gotta write it down though, so I have it ready for you. What's up? Oh yeah, you were. Okay.
I wanted to retake.
Yeah, I was gonna put. Okay. Okay. I will have those ready. Monday or Tuesday at the latest, though. Then they're garbage. Okay. Worksheet 5B. Oh my goodness. I just wanted to put up here before I turned off the recording. Evens. Is that what we decided was our homework? Okay. The worksheet, so it's not evens or odds in the back.